Okay. Gotta let the giggles out. Okay. All right. Hola, amigos y amigas, and welcome back to race weekend in Mexico City. We're at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez, a track with history, heart, and just the right amount of chaos. The circuit has seen it all: legendary wins, heartbreaks in the stadium section, and more party energy than the average F1 paddock can handle. From the days of the Rodriguez brothers tearing up the track in the 60s to Checo Perez turning the grandstands into a sea of red, white, and green, Mexico's love for F1 runs deep. And today, the atmosphere is electric. We've got thin air, big stakes, and a grid that's ready to spice up things faster than the plate of tacos al pastor. So grab your guac, crank up the volume, and let's dive into the drama, the strategy, and the fiesta that is the Mexican Grand Prix.
All right, besties. You know what time it is when I'm the one yapping at the top of an episode. So, welcome back to Turn by Turn, our segment where I generally cover a laundry list of track changes. This weekend, it's not too bad. I will take what I can get. They did asphalt grinding at turn 12 near the 150-meter breaker marker. They added blue behind the white lines at turn 3 at the apex, turn 5 at the apex and the exit, turn 6 at the apex and exit, and at turn 9 at the apex. They doubled the white line at the apex of turn 2, and finally the bollard at the apex of turn 2 was moved closer to the track.
It's a miracle when we don't have a laundry list now.
I will take what I can get when it comes to not having something crazy to read.
For real though. So moving on to some pre-race fun. Although Dia de los Muertos, known as Day of the Dead, isn't until next weekend technically. And an organization in Mexico has already set up a few ofrendas for this weekend's race, and they have a special statue in honor of Roscoe. The ofrenda is, again, take this with a grain of salt. I'm not Mexican nor Catholic, so this is just what I've learned from my studies in undergrad. But pretty much the ofrenda is just an honor, or the ofrenda is to honor those who have passed, and their souls just essentially like come earthside to like eat the favorite like snacks, like spend time with like families, pretty much essentially like one night out of the year to visit their loved ones. And it's just a beautiful special tribute to Roscoe and Lewis. It's really touching.
I can't even lie. When I saw it, I actually got really close to crying. I just think it was very sweet. Obviously, Lewis has been going through a lot. It's really hard to lose a pet that has been around for so very long for him. If you also saw the clip of him interacting with Isaac Hajar, where Isaac was just like checking in on him, it was just really sweet. It feels very like on brand for the two of them together. I feel like
so genuine.
I feel like Lewis adopted a rookie and Isaac adopted a like OG grid member, and they have just like, they're two peas in a pod, and I love it so very much. Their friendship and their relationship dynamic just brings me so much joy, but I kind of just really appreciate that they've both been there for each other in hard times. Like
mentor through and through.
Yes, it's so sweet. It's just adorable. I love it so much. But I think the touch of adding Roscoe was so sweet. I bet he needed that more than he knew. Whoever was in charge of that, you are amazing. You deserve all the kudos, plus a raise, and then some.
Yeah, the fans, I noticed this weekend a lot of the fans had like a bunch of like posters of Roscoe, like saying like Roscoe's with you and all this stuff. So I thought it was like really touching, like especially knowing how like that culture values like this special holiday and like their past ones and everything. I'm like, my heart. But we have to talk about the special helmets that went into this weekend. There wasn't really much special like livery or merch going into this weekend compared to like last weekend where everyone just kind of went crazy for Austin. But here we are. So Carlos had a iconic helmet going into this weekend. His was just, I loved it because it said El Chile 55, pretty much the Chile 55 on the side, and I have to say I was obsessed with it.
I cannot lie. I squealed when I saw Carlos's helmet. It was the little things for me, which honestly should surprise nobody that like the little details are the things that bring me joy. If you've listened to PGP for any semblance of time, that's generally a point that I make with like the helmet design that I like or whatever. But I really liked the little details. There was like just the right amount of color in there too. I have no notes.
And speaking of no notes, Isaac, our favorite rookie, my favorite rookie. He had a tribute helmet to Alan Prost in his win at this circuit in 1990.
Honestly, I don't think there could be a more perfect helmet design for somebody whose nickname is Le Petit Prost. Honestly, it is so perfect for Isaac. Like Mel said, I have no notes. It's absolute perfection. I kind of hope we get more like Alan Prost recreation helmets from Isaac, even like recreations with like a little bit of Isaac's own spin, like more of Isaac's spin to it could be really fun. I feel like if anybody's going to do helmets like that, it has to be Isaac.
No, I agree, especially since like a lot of his helmets already had like quadratic formulas, like giving like a little shout out to his dad because I think he's like a physicist or some type of like engineer, which is also like cool in itself. But we also have to mention another cool helmet from another Williams driver, and that's Alex. And literally, like, that helmet was so cool to look at. It to me, like looking, I tried looking on his page to see if I can like see more detail of it. But I didn't see anything when I looked. But from what I saw, it looked like it was just kind of like an Aztec-y kind of feel with the colors and the design. I have no notes for it. I thought it was just amazing to look at.
Again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's the use of color. It's everything. I feel like Alex Albon is one of the drivers that I can always count on to give me something with a lot of color and something that's just like fun and funky.
Yeah, I agree. It's always fun to see how creative they get with the helmets and like how creative they can get themselves, but also like if they have any collaborations with like local artists and whatnot. I just love a good fun helmet. Now, going into the meat and bones of the weekend, of course, we're back to normal. We're back with our 3 free practice sessions. So we had a rookie galore this weekend with the first practice session. We got Pato Award for McLaren, Frederick Vesti for Mercedes, Antonio Fuoco, I am so sorry for that pronunciation, for Ferrari, Arvid Lindblad for Red Bull, Luke Browning for Williams, Jack Crawford for Aston Martin, Ryo Hirakawa for Haas, and Ayumi Iwasawa for the Racing Bull / VCarb, whatever. And finally, Paul Aaron for Alpine.
Speaking of Pato, it was really amazing to see him drive again for F1, especially like McLaren. And I know he's been the reserve driver forever, but I keep just silently hoping that maybe one day he'll be given his shot. Who knows?
Of course, was super excited to see Pato in the car. I was really excited to see Paul Aaron back in the car. The one I think I actually was paying the most attention to was how Arvin Lindblad was doing in the Red Bull, because I just like the rumors around him are swirling like mad, and so I was really hoping to get an idea of like how he was gonna do in the car, because we just haven't seen him in an F1 car very often. So I definitely was watching very closely with him.
He also did incredible in testing at the beginning of the year, to the point where people were like, whoa, who is this driver? So to see him back in a car again in F1 gives me hope for another future Kimi that we could possibly see.
Well, you know how Red Bull likes to switch their drivers mid-season multiple times. Also, I think my favorite thing from this free practice session was the fact that George took advantage of Vesti driving his car and went into the crowd with a luchador mask. Yes, a green luchador mask to watch the session, and it's simply iconic because he was like, I haven't seen F1 cars in like forever. So just him taking the opportunity is just amazing. And he even posted like pictures on his social, or I think it was Mercedes that may have, where fans were wearing like his shirts and he was like walking by them. And I can just imagine how, like, I don't know, I don't want to say like weird, but like I can just imagine how that feels, like walking in the crowd like incognito, quote unquote, and seeing like your fans like wearing like stuff with your face on it.
Obviously, my hope would be, because George was the one who posted it on his socials, my hope is the fact that he waited until he was back in hospitality to post the photo, but it also, for some weird reason, would not put it past George to potentially post it while still in the stands. But I'm really hoping that, like, he waited until he was back, because I don't necessarily know if he had any, like, security with him or anything like that. And, like, fans can get a little wild sometimes. So, like, I'm assuming he waited, but I could be wrong. But I really didn't have, I didn't have George in a luchador mask on my bingo card at all. But I really didn't have George in a luchador mask in the stands watching free practice on my bingo card. That is very iconic, very not what I would have expected from George Russell. But I love it. That's iconic, but I'm kind of confused because that doesn't feel very George. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, you're 100% right, because when I thought about it, as I go, okay, this is like unhinged. Like this is hilarious. And when I think about a driver who would do it, George would not be the person who I would think of. I could name quite a few who I would think would be this level of spontaneous. That is not him, but I love it. And actually, I wish that we saw more of this from drivers. Even if it's just a little bit surprise.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he had security with him. It just seemed like he was just kind of just there by himself, and probably why he put on the mask. But I think it was funny how like, he even had like glasses on. But enough about FP1, because our top three, we had Charles, Kimi, and Nico. And then the bottom five, we had Ryu, Ayumu, Luke, Jack, and Antonio.
And we got into FP2. Your top three for FP2 was Max, Charles, and Kimi.
And then bottom five, we had Isaac, Gabriel, Nico, Ollie, Franco, Alex, and Pierre.
And your top three after the end of Free Practice 3 was Lando, Lewis, and George.
And the bottom five, we had Alex, Ollie, Pierre, Franco, and Fernando.
Now, we do have to get into quali. I personally sometimes feel like quali is my favorite part of a race weekend. I feel like
Same.
There are a lot of other F1 fans that kind of have that same thought, where like sometimes quali is more fun than the actual race. It really depends on like the weekend. A lot of the times I feel like depends on the season. Sometimes it's not as fun as the actual race. Sometimes we get a more intense quali than we do race day. So we do need to get into quali. And Q1 started us off with track limit lap deletions back again. I feel like we had so many lap deletions last weekend, and we started off this race weekend, or qualifying for this race weekend, with Gabby getting hit with a track limits lap deletion, which just kind of suck. That's definitely really frustrating. I have to say, y'all always hear us mentioning the F1 TV commentary and the things that their pundits say. And I really was not prepared for them saying that Oscar was in, quote, struggle city. I swear to God, if the Apple TV, F1 TV collaboration deal, whatever we want to call it, makes it so that I do not have access to the F1 TV crew, I will cry. I will riot. You will hear me absolutely losing my shit. Please don't take them from me.
I agree.
At high noon.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
just get like a
please.
VPN and share with each other so we can just still use
Literally,
F1
like,
TV.
Yeah.
Do not take them from us. We love them so much.
Sometimes I'm just like, how did I think of these things to say?
At this point, I personally prefer the F1 TV crew to Sky Sports. I think their commentary is
hands down.
much better.
Hands down. And I already am having like anxiety of what F1 is gonna look like if Laura Winters doesn't come back after having her baby. Because like I love her.
Don't put that out there.
Sorry.
Don't do it.
I already am thinking it going, oh my god,
I
what's
know.
this gonna look like? And I'm not ready.
Yeah, lots of changes coming up. But 12 minutes left in the session, and I have to say, like, seeing Ollie in second and Alex in third place was just crazy work. And I feel like it's a little bit of foreshadowing for Ollie because that man was just on something this weekend for sure.
Really want to know what they gave him this weekend because Ollie was just like on one. We had 7 minutes left in the session. Ollie was still hanging on to third. Like, that's just so iconic from Little Bear himself. I have no notes for him. But I really want to know, like, what was in his water? What did you feed him? Like, what did you do differently for him to perform like this? Because keep it up, please.
The spirit of Mexico just took over him. That's what happened. Speaking of just crazy work, both Isaac and Liam, yes, both of them, were in the top 3 in the last 2 minutes of the session above Max. And if you look at our notes later, I have like the little like eye emoji just like looking sideways because I was just like, oh, this is very interesting. This is the sister team outperforming the main team. Huh.
Honestly, my jaw was fully on the floor. I really need to get a camera or something for when I'm watching races because the reactions I pull are probably just gold. Because I was fully mind blown. I have no notes. I really have nothing to add. It was so badass. The thing that stressed me out though was how close Franco Colapinto was to binning his car into the wall. I mean, the kid literally got air in an F1 car. The F1 TV team panning to a reaction shot of Flavio Briatore had me laughing because I'm pretty sure that was the one time that I have ever fully agreed with Flavio and his reaction because I bet I had the exact same one. I don't know how Franco pulled that out, but he did. At the end of Q1, we lost Gabrielle, Alex, Pierre, Lance, and Franco. Now, moving into Q2, I think the craziest thing for me this session was hearing the pundits say that they take some of these corners 40 to 50 miles per hour. If you live in the States, you understand that that's like a little crazy to think about because that's a lot of roads.
That's our speed limit in a lot of places here.
I mean, most of the highways near me max out at 65 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come to Texas.
Oh, girl, I've already, trust me, I love it. No, I'm somebody who speeds. So I'm like, what do you mean you're taking a corner at 40 to 50 miles an hour? That's just wild to me.
There's a highway here that is 90 miles per hour. It is amazing.
Maximum or minimum?
I mean, it says 90 miles per hour, so typically people go like 100.
Valid.
Crazy.
And that's where most cars have their like limit at, unless you got that like deleted from the computer. But it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because like over here, it's like the highest is like at least that from what I've seen in Maryland is like 70, but people are easily going like 90 to 100.
Oh yeah,
like easy.
Girl, my highways max out around here at 65 miles an hour, and I was driving yesterday, and somebody was literally pulling 95, 105.
Easy.
Like,
it happens.
Easy.
I tell people all the time it's suggested unless there's a hop around. And then it's enforced.
Yes. Yes, but like still thinking that like, oh my god, an F1 car is going 40 to 50 miles an hour around a corner is just bonkers to me when you
It
actually
is.
think about what that speed is.
I agree. And it's always also, speaking of like interesting, it's always like interesting to me like how the high altitude differences and like Mexico City like affects the cars also differently because like the altitude changes with like the downforce and like the wind and all that stuff because like at like what do you mean Nico was in P1 for a hot minute?
The way that I screamed, I'm pretty sure people could hear me, especially
Like
my
what do you mean?
neighbors.
What do you mean?
I like literally screamed,
Literally,
go,
are we dreaming?
yes. Yes. I was like, freeze the time
Feel-
here.
I feel like sometimes there are certain tracks that make us feel like we're living in an alternate reality because we'll get moments like Nico in P1. I love to see it, but like sometimes I have to like think about like am
Whoa.
I dreaming? What is
Is this a
happening?
Twilight song?
Because literally we had Nico in P1 for a hot minute and then we have Oscar who's like barely making it through the end of Q2 by like under 0.1 seconds. Like what do you mean? What do you mean? Make
Maybe
it
it's in the
make
water
sense.
for the
Girl, I wish I
altitude.
knew. So I don't know, but it
He made it literally by the skins of his teeth.
literally wild, absolutely wild work. At the end of Q2, we lost Yuki, Esteban, Nico, Fernando, and Liam.
Now, going into Q3, we saw a miracle happen with Carlos going through, but we do want to keep in mind that he does have a 5 grid place penalty from Austin. So it was a big gamble for him to like make sure he's finishing on top and all that stuff because 5 places, it's a really big make it or break it type deal in any race weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, I still have thoughts on that 5 place grid penalty from Austin, but that's
A
a
lot.
different story. I think a lot of people have thoughts on that. What I do have to touch on for Q3 is the sheer joy I was brought by having 3 rookies through to Q3. I loved every second of it. It brings me much, much joy. We love the rookies.
I love seeing them perform so well.
Yeah, the rookie roster this year is just unmatched compared to
Mm-hmm.
previous years.
Yeah, it's been nice. Like it's really refreshing to see like how well they've been doing and like how much work and how much work not only from them like from the rookies themselves but like the team too because like obviously it is paying off. Now, the top 10 going into Grand Prix Sunday, we had Lando in P1, followed by Charles in P2, Lewis in P3. I screamed at the Ferrari 2-3. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Then George in P4, Kimi, Carlos, Oscar, Isaac, and then Ollie rounding out the top 10. Now, I really wanted Charles on a pole because I am a Tifosi. I am a Leclerc Fosi, whatever they're called. But anyways, he was just doing so good during the free practice session. So my Delulu was Deluluing a lot going into quali. But I was very happy to see both Ferrari drivers in the top 3, especially Lewis because he's just been having like kind of a rough season adjusting to the Ferrari car. So it was really nice seeing him up there in the top 3. Now, I also really hate how they have all top 3 drivers together during the post-race interview. It is very annoying. It seems very crowded, and like you can literally overhear the conversations.
I noticed that in Austin as well, and I wasn't a fan of it because you felt like you couldn't really listen to the driver on a one-on-one experience versus like in the past, it was like more personable.
I loathe it so much. I know that they probably have to be mindful of like timing and like run time for how long everything is in terms of filming, but it's just kind of odd to me because they didn't used to do it like this.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when it was they changed it, but it's only been like maybe 3 or 4 races that they've started doing at the end of quali. It's your top 3 and doing the same thing at the end of the race. I think it's really weird. I think it's so much better when it's each person individually. I think you get better interviews out of people when it's one person with an interviewer versus 3 people and 1 interviewer, because the other 2 were just standing there twiddling their thumbs going, okay, what the heck do I do now?
Like all the side conversations.
It's just awkward. You don't need to do it. If you're really that worried about runtime, like, you can corral them and, like, spread them out far enough apart that, like, whoever's doing your interview either can walk down a line or they can, like, circle, have the drivers move around, whatever. Like, there are other options to, like, save on, like, corralling people in terms of, like, length of time than doing 3 drivers, 1 interviewer. Like, it's just awkward.
It's
At
too
least
much.
from my personal perspective, in my opinion. Take with that what you will. You could choose to disagree with me, but I think a lot of people find it weird.
I just want to know what the shift was. Like, what caused that to become what it is now? And is it just for the recent races that they're trying out, or is it going to be like the new normal? So we'll see what the rest of the season
I hope
brings,
it's not a
but
normal.
yeah, I'm ready for the one-on-one interviews to come back.
I'm about to bring a sign to
Please.
Brazil and be like, one-on-one interviews.
Just start screaming in and see what they say.
Just gonna see, like,
make a poster. But now I think we have to talk about probably one of the most chaotic starts of the races that we've seen in a while, and that is race. Now I want to start this off with a little tidbit of what Laura Winter said on F1 TV in the pre-show. She made like a fun fact / a note that I never really realized until she said it, was that Max Verstappen has actually never won a race from 5th place before. Insane.
I mean, there's a first time for everything? Like, a girl can dream, at least. Obviously, as we're recording this, we know the outcome. But, like, again, there's still a first time for everything. I'd love to see him be able to pull it off at some circuit. Like, just to check that off the bucket list. Mexico might not have been the track for that, but I'd still love to see it happen, personally. I do have to talk about the fact that I love that they have finally learned, thank you, F1 gods, that the F1 TV team and F1 itself has learned that Mexico requires their special version of the F1 theme song, because I would have been so mad if they didn't use it. I know they have historically used it since it became a thing, but, like, thank you for, like, making sure you used it.
I'm a big fan of the F1 theme being like a mariachi like version for Mexico, but I think it'd be really cool if they start doing this for like different countries and like whatever like signature sound they have or like known type of music, like try to like make the F1 theme song into that.
Ooh,
I think it'd be cool.
Very personable.
Yeah.
I like that. That'd be fun.
Just to
Yeah.
play
I
like
mean,
on Sunday.
I think that'd be fun. I mean, Texas is easy. You probably would just do, like, something
Guns,
that sounds very
Merca.
country.
Viva Las Vegas.
Yeah.
channel some Elvis for Vegas or something like that.
Miami would be just like Miami, like Welcome to Miami.
Yeah, I want like disco.
And then like, I'm trying to think what you
Brazil
could do
can
for,
definitely
like,
be some like samba.
Yeah. I feel like Spain, you'd want to do like flamenco.
Flamenco, yeah.
And then probably some like Arabic music for like Dubai.
Yeah, you definitely would
and
want to
all
use
of
like the Arabian
those.
scale for like the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, ooh, what about like Germany? You could do like, I don't know.
There's lots of
Polka's
opportunity
not
to
right.
explore.
There's so many options. I feel like it'd be a fun thing for them to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, we could talk about that until we're blue in the face. At least I could. I'm a girl with a music background, so I love that kind of stuff. I started this race like a tiny bit behind because I went out to run an errand and I did not plan my time accordingly. Normally I'm really good about that, but I got a text notification the minute I pulled into my driveway from Chris Medlin that literally read, "Cars all over the place." And I definitely like moved out of my car even faster than I really needed to, but like, what the heck? That was the funniest text notification I think I've ever received from F1 in a really long time.
All I can see Amy is like running out of her car into like the porch, like that little like hen, the little got to go, got to go. I love that meme. But I mean that was one hell of a start of a race. Like it was so crazy. It was just like Lando had like a really good start. I was hoping for the opposite. But yeah. But I do have to talk about Max got onto the grass.
Max lockup into turn 1. It was like, holy guacamole, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, 4 cars wide into turn 1 is crazy. We've seen them take that turn 3 cars wide, but like 4, that was
It's crazy.
definitely a first.
It was, I don't even know what to say. Like, Lando stays in P1, but Charles and Lewis, they were so close. There was a moment where I was like, oh Lord, Ferraris are both going to get out. Please, please, for the love of God, do not let this happen.
Oh no, I thought for a second like they definitely did touch because like from the angle like F1 TV was showing the race like at that moment I was just like Chris and I were like, oh my god. He's like, they touched, and I was just like, no, because literally a second later Charles got onto the grass and with the heli Ferrari like it. I was not okay.
Could have been really bad for Lewis and Charles. Like, what were they thinking? I know they were probably like, let's race, but what?
I mean, I
the
don't have anything to
heck?
lose
I
at this
know.
point.
And then Lance spun out in turn 1 as well. Luckily, he didn't hit any wall or hit anybody. And then Oscar dropped down to 9th. It was like almost like he just lost pace, and you're just like, what the heck happened? It was not his weekend.
Yeah, not at all.
That was so not what Oscar wanted or needed out of this race weekend, like at all.
It just feels
All I
out of
have to
character.
all I had to say was just like, yikes. Like, that was just so not what he needed.
And then it was so weird because, I mean, of course, you don't get things in context until after. Is why did Lawson already go in for a pit stop on lap 3? He had to get a new front wing. And then apparently he had contact in turn 1 and 2. It was like there was just too much going on. It was like you needed a slow by slow replay of every little incident.
This is like when we appreciate the 20 million replays of the start, because it's just like we love a little chaos, but we like the chaos to be spread out.
Yeah.
Because when it's like this, it's just like, what is going on? But then like a yellow flag came out at turn 1 for a possible like track hazard, like just I guess like debris and like just random stuff, probably from all that craziness. Was just all over the track.
And then, of course, we have Russell, who was not happy with Verstappen over positions and him going in the grass. He had some choice words.
Mm-hmm.
When does George Russell, Princess George himself, not have complaints when it comes to Max, though? Because, like, honestly,
Always.
like, we all know, everybody knows, the pundits know that those two don't play nice with each other. So, am I surprised? No, not really.
No, never. And then the Ferrari debacle just continues because the man locks up. At this point, like we were like only like I think not even like 5 laps in, and I was already like done with the race. I was just like, what is going on? Yeah, no words.
Lewis. It's like almost like you need like a moment of silence after saying that name after just what happened. And the people who saw it live, like we all did, completely understand the moment of silence that is needed for that simple fact that because it's like, come on, that man deserves so much better. And then, but then one positive is that Ollie moved up to P4, and the amount of change up that happened within that subsequent 5 laps, all due to the fact of the hairpins and turn 1 was insane.
Honestly, I squealed seeing Ollie up in P4. I want nothing but good things for Oliver Bearman. I also want nothing but good things for Lewis Hamilton, but he's with Ferrari, and Ferrari causes nothing but pain at this point, so I don't know what I need for him, but I need Happy Lewis back.
You know, I recently bought a Ferrari hat when I was in Austin because I was like, I'm gonna get my first piece of Ferrari merch, like official Ferrari merch, and I was like, they're gonna have a great weekend. I was on a high from the fact that they were doing so well in practices, and I then told myself I'm never wearing again because I thought I jinxed them.
I'm so scared for Brazil to wear all the Ferrari merch I'm gonna be wearing.
I know.
But I have
But
to.
then Max, did we get Ruthless Max back, or am I seeing like something that has always been there that I've just never realized? Because he was absolutely ruthless during this race. And then race control also noted Alonso and Sainz having contact, and then Hamilton being noted for failing to rejoin correctly. Like, what? And then
And the what continues?
I'm over here like, what the freak is going on? Especially since you didn't note Verstappen not joining correctly. But
That part.
what the hell?
The FIA is gonna FIA when it wants. We all know our opinions on them because I mean the what the hell he just continues because Liam literally just like DNF'd out of nowhere. Like I just remember like just seeing like the V Cup garage and like he's just out of his car and we are just like, huh? When did this happen?
It's like, this is where, like I said earlier, context clues
Yeah.
that aren't given, but are needed. And then the debacle continues because then race control also noted a collision from Hamilton and Verstappen. And now I'm just like, was it really Hamilton or is it Verstappen? Because, like, what are we getting at this point?
I don't know if I'd say we have Ruthless Max per se, but I definitely think he was
Mad Max.
being a little more pushy at minimum. He was being more pushy than normal.
Especially since he knows he has a chance at the WDC now, too.
I'd say we got, like, Mad Max light. Like, it wasn't full Mad Max, because he could have taken ballsier moves and or done riskier things, but he definitely was pushing a little more than he has, I think. But Liam was actually forced to retire the car. Honey. Oh, baby. Sweetheart. Honestly, though, my heart actually hurts more for the team than for Liam. I can't lie.
I like the people who are listening to this episode are going to judge me hardcore for this, so please take it as this is my opinion only. But is it sad that I laughed at the "for the team" comment that Amy just said? Because I feel bad for the team, but not necessarily for the driver. Because the team's the one that had to put the car together. That stinks.
Yeah, y'all know that I have a love-hate with Liam Lawson. I used to adore him at the start because I love having a Kiwi on the grid. I think it's really fun. But as time has gone on, he's just started to rub me the wrong way and like kind of started to ick me out a little bit. I do want to see him succeed, but there are personality quirks that I have noticed from him, at least from the content that is out on the internet, I will say. It's not like I know him in person and in real life. There are just like little things that he's done online that just kind of rub me the wrong way. And that's like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to totally hold it against him. Again, I don't know him in real life, but I definitely have a love-hate relationship.
Valid.
And then, honestly, I have another driver who I feel the same exact way about, but we're just going to keep that to myself. But anyways, back to the race. Did anybody else hear the commentary response to Ocon's radio message? I literally cackled. And it almost sounded like a southern thing, like, oh, honey. That's kind of how it, like, sounded like, because it was like, oh, like, you don't even know the half of it, so, like, goodbye.
I can't. I do have to say I love watching races while having all of my post notifications turned on for F1 media people and all of the teams, because apparently, according to Chris Medlin, the stewards were working throughout a lot of the turn 1/turn 2 first lap chaos that happened during the race. Obviously, they were trying to work through stuff as quick as they could. They had cleared Fernando and Carlos for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. And basically, Chris was saying that the decisions should roll in order of, I
Like
think,
incident.
as the incident was lodged, was the way that the decisions were going to come out. I do have to say, the moment that had my jaw on the absolute floor during the race was seeing Lewis Hamilton get hit with a 10-second time penalty for leaving the track and getting an advantage.
Say it, girl. Say it.
I would curse, and I really want to. But F the FIA. A 10-second penalty for Lewis, and I've said this for a lot of other drivers when they've gotten such a harsh penalty too. It's absolute crazy work from the FIA. Like, it's a big hit to his race because he was actually doing pretty good, like holding on to that P3 spot, and then even like it's. I just want to go up there and have some words with my fists with them. I'm partially joking. I do want to have some words though. I'll sneak up there somehow in 2 weeks. Be like, take it back.
I sometimes just wish I understood the method to the madness.
Yeah.
Like, how do they justify a 5-second penalty to a 10-second penalty? How do they make that decision of who gets a penalty and who doesn't? Because there was probably a couple questionable choices during this race where I'm like, are you sure that it's that person, or do you think both should be punished? I mentioned this later on about another issue where I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with that, could challenge it, but I also am like, I'm not the FIA. But, and one of those people I'm kind of hinting on right now is the 5.1 second pit stop for Carlos. That's insane. I think that was the slowest pit stop, other than the Lewis having to serve his time penalty, of course, that we saw this whole race. And then again, Max and Lewis are under investigation for a turn 1 collision. Insanity.
Honestly, had me more confused was the fact that Max also then was under investigation for leaving the track and gaining an advantage at turn 3 as well, but was also cleared of that. Honestly, I was confusion besties, and it seems that the FIA and the stewards were just as confused and confusion as I was, because, like, what the heck is going on, guys?
They're smoking something, and it's not the green stuff.
It's almost like they need it in like an Excel spreadsheet and like give it out to everybody, and then also maybe keep their minds clear and organized.
Yeah, it's just annoying because, like, of course, Max didn't get one. And there's no hate to Max because, like, Max is not the one, like, making the decisions, but it's clear that, like, sometimes these stewards lean towards their biases or, like, lean towards their favorites and whatever. And, like, okay, Max didn't get one, but Max left the track and gained an advantage. What Lewis did, but Lewis got the penalty. Like, the math is not mathing. Again, FIA, when I see you, it's on site. It's on site.
The thing that was the most painful was watching Lewis Hamilton pit on lap 24 and have to serve his time penalty, because that man spent a total of 33 plus seconds in the pits.
Pain.
That is just wild to, like, think of that number, but also just, like, painful as hell.
And then to further on the craziness of how all of the FIA just FIAing is that no further action was given to Lewis Hamilton or Max on the collision in turn 1. Like, make that make sense, since we gave Lewis Hamilton a penalty earlier for doing the same thing that Max did.
Who knows?
So many questions, so few answers. I truly hope I'm not the only person who got a really good chuckle out of this, but I really did not expect to hear Jean-Pierre Lambesi having to check what Red Bull was doing for strategy. Now, yes, I know GP is a race strategist, a race engineer, and not a strategist. So, like, of course he has to check. But it was the fact that he kept the radio on and Max goes, "I can hear you." I could not stop laughing. It was great. But also, like, what the heck is going on in the House of Red Bull?
The laugh that came out of me when I heard that convo absolutely killed me. Because it's not only strategy. They were talking. GP was asking about pit stop, like their tire strategy. He was like, "What tire strategy are we on?" or something like that. And I was just like, "My dude, how do you not know?" Like, you kind of you girl bossed a little too hard to the sun. Clearly.
Well,
Maybe.
no, he's a race engineer. He's
No,
not
I
a
know,
strategist.
yeah, but like you would think he would know from the strategist, like telling them beforehand. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what I mean. Like you would think he would know. But Max Pie is like, what? Poor guy.
And then on lap 27, mind you, we're not even halfway through the race yet. And there's still a lot of craziness to go through. Is that Sainz was noted by race control for speeding in the pit lane.
It was the fact that he got hit with a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I don't know what was going on this race weekend, but it was just crazy. Because
Insane.
We also had Nico Hulkenberg in the garage. What in the heck is going on?
Nico, what the freaking heck, man? Apparently, it was reliability issues with the power unit in the car. So poor Sauber, because the car's actually been doing really great lately. So that's gonna suck.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Sauber. I just can't wait for them to start having like that full Audi money and them to be gone with the wind with Audi. Because from what I heard from Crofty and like the whole commentary crew is essentially like Nico was already complaining of having like PU issues, power unit issues since the formation lap. So if we're halfway through the race, this is what, like 30-ish, 35-ish laps in? That's like insanity, like how long he was able to last with a faulty power unit, power unit issue, if you will. Poor guy. Poor guy. He was doing good this weekend too.
It's definitely not what you want to see from a car.
Mm-mm.
Especially on race day. It's one thing for that to happen like on practice or
Quality, yeah.
but on race day, that's like one of those make or break situations. Now going back to what we were talking about with Chile, Carlos Sainz, whatever you want to call him, is that he was stating on the team radio that the car was jumping in the pit lane. And I wonder if that could be the reason for the speeding.
It could be.
It would make sense when you think about it. We'll never really know unless the team comes out and says that, like, hey, this was actually what caused it. But I think it's safe to consider it a possible option. I do have to give the F1 TV team some kudos because we have all complained that sometimes they show us who's in the garage too much. But I like when they give us reactions to relevant moments because they did give us a fantastic job of giving us Papa Bearman and his reaction, because honestly, that man's reaction to Ollie doing well in anything is just absolutely iconic. He brings me so much joy. I cannot deal.
I love seeing him because like he always looks so stressed, and it's so valid because like your son is racing an F1 car at 200 plus miles per hour for 2 hours once a week nearly. So I whenever he comes on screen I'm like, hey, it's him. But besides him, I also love seeing Papa Hamilton. Like I love seeing the dads like in the garage just like supporting their sons and just being excited for them when they're doing like really well. It's heartwarming to see. And it's like Amy had said, it's nice to see them as opposed to like I know I said last week, like, I don't really mind when they show, like, the wags or the celebrities, but, like, if I had to choose, I would prefer to see parents because you can just see, like, the light in their eyes where it's like they're so happy for their child, like, to be doing so well.
I also feel the same way with Lando's mom and dad when Pascal, I think that's her name. When she is on the screen, her face is always like she always just seems so happy and so like excited. And then when their son does well, like Adam going and like hugging his wife and just going like that happens, it's always really amazing. And I prefer seeing, like Mel said, um parents over wags any day. Like, please.
I think family reactions versus significant other reactions are different. Like, even like if it's someone's wife, like I don't mind that, but
Or they're small
sometimes
children. I love small
yeah.
children.
Oh yes, give us the kids. It's always fun. But I don't know. I feel like there's a balance between showing us people's partners and their reactions, or people in the garage's reactions. But like, if there's active, good action going on track,
Give us the action.
show us. It's just,
Agreed.
it's, you need, I like, it's just, it's needed. But we did get McLaren pulling Lando Norris in for a pit stop. Honestly, I kind of was worried they were going to bottle the stop, but it was only 2.6 seconds, so good for them. They didn't screw it up this time.
I was worried because there was a 28-second gap between Lando and Charles, so I was like, if this goes wrong, this could change the race in a lot of ways.
I was hoping it would.
Girl, bye.
But I'm also just being selfish, so take that as you will.
But at lap 34, it was done right, like Amy said. And he was able to stay in P1, and there was no mix-up on the grid. No mix-up. So if that's one time that McLaren decides to get their life together, I'm okay with that. Because they did it for Oscar too, and I'm proud for both pit stops.
We did have another what the helly moment with Fernando Alonso and his DNF. Again, this was retirement number 3 for Fernando Alonso in Mexico. I have no words for that right now. They were back at it again with the reliability issues, and that has to suck for both the team and for Fernando personally, especially because 3 retirements in a row in the same race at the same circuit is just like painful beyond belief.
I'm gonna go off on a silly note. I think it's just karma from his ancestors conquesting.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Mexico.
You're right. You are so right, and I love it.
It could be karma. Who knows? I mean,
yeah. I mean, he is a Spaniard and conquistadors, so like
we know the history.
The maths.
Maybe it's some like ancestral like burial ground that's like haunting him.
Hey, who knows? I would not be surprised at this point.
Yeah.
Or like the Monaco curse, just with Fernando and Mexico.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was just wild. I do have to say, I need to whoever is stuck as George Russell's race engineer, you're iconic because you had me wheezing this race. Because he told George, I do need brakes at the end of this race though, because George really wanted to keep pushing and was basically like chomping at the bit to get past Kimi to get a chance at Ollie, and his race engineer was like, dude, you need brakes at the end of the race though. Like, there are rules. But George was just kind of having none of it. I don't know what was going on with him because he was just so sassy this weekend. Because he even hit back with I was just checking. Like, I really want to know why he was so sassy. Like, I get it. You have Esteban. He was like really close to Oscar and was really trying to not have Oscar get by. But like, I think in the moment, he was running his mouth. But I do think that he might regret how much he was sassing this race, because if they put together a compilation of like sassy radio messages from the season, I fear we're going to get a lot of George Russell clips because he was
Yes.
just on one.
He really was. And I think the comment that had me the most on the floor, there's a McLaren up my ass. George.
What the bleep do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure was the full message.
It's just like so unlike his character already, but like it's just that is a choice of words. That is a choice of words.
We did have a moment where I looked up and was just kind of confused as to how people shuffled around the way that they did, because somehow I missed Yuki Tsunoda getting a 12-second pit stop on lap 37, along with on lap 38 Red Bull deciding to also pit Max for soft tires. And I just like looked up and was like, how did you get where you are? I'm confused.
A lot of confusion this Sunday.
Seriously.
I was confused because all of a sudden, like, Max was in, what, 3rd? And then he went down to 8th, and I was like, did I miss something? I was like, I know I have a tendency of zoning out, but I don't remember zoning out that badly. And I was like, okay. But at that moment, I was also like, can we end this here? We were on lap 42, and I want to say the top 3 were Lando, Charles, and Ollie. And I was like, we can just end this. Please, just call the race, red flag, bad weather, I don't care. Ollie on the podium.
George was just really on one today. He had so much to say. There was just so much sass in so many people's radio messages this weekend, and I really want to understand why.
Yeah, and going back to that, we also had sassy Alex on the radio this weekend, and I know that that's been like an ongoing thing this whole season where like we've seen a side of Alex we're not used to seeing because they just don't typically show his radio messages. But I need like a contemplation or whatever you call that little montage stuff on YouTube of like all the crazy sassy radio messages from Formula One drivers throughout the year, because that was insane. And then I'm just gonna say this because papaya rules is papaya rules, and papaya rules will do whatever the heck I guess is papaya rules to them. It changes every week. But Lando's engineer is asking feedback on tires to help out Oscar. I'm like, is this like genuinely like, hey, what's your thoughts on these? Or, hey, we're looking to try to overtake you. What would you do? Maybe my mind just thinks the worst.
The papaya rules are non-existent at this point. But the sass was actually like really real going back to that today. I'm just gonna blame it on the spicy Mexican food. That's all. They were all just feeling a little spicy.
But I will say one thing that worked out really well, or at least what I thought worked out well, was that Antonelli, Piastri, and Hamilton all pitting at the same time. That was pretty epic. Then
Yeah.
Also Ferrari telling Charles that they're doing good and that they're going out for the long game and to stay out. This was at lap 53 out of 71. And at that point I was like, Ferrari, I really hope you're thinking the correct strategy, because if that man falls back and gets out of the top 3, I'm fighting you. And then Carlos was then noted again for speeding in the pit lane. And at that point I go, okay, this is more than just a one-time incident, and I know this man did not do this on purpose. So I was like, is there a pit lane timer issue with your car? Because your car is supposed to tell you when you're in the pit lane and automatically shift down. And I wonder if it wasn't.
Interesting.
He did get hit with a drive-through penalty, which just sucks. I don't know what was going on with him, but he was just really not having a good weekend. There was a really funny message that came through on Max's radio from GP, and I really need to know, GP, did you just openly confirm that you are a Verstappen shipper? Because I love it. Because he said, and I quote, "There's your man ahead of you," referring to Charles, and it gave me the best little giggle. I love to see it. We got a killer battle, well, yes, it had me stressed to the high heavens on lap 61 with George and Oscar. It was just kind of crazy. We did see Oscar overtaking George and getting up to 5th, so needed. We also got a killer overtake from Gabby on Ollie on the outside to get up to P10.
And then Sauber. Sorry, I'm a Gabby fangirl over here. And the fact that he got into the points, I think this man deserves it so much, especially since he was first place in Formula 2 last year. And then, like I mentioned before, both drivers, they have the pace in the car to get far and get points. I think it's just a matter of like optimizing and figuring it out.
I'm telling you, once that Audi money hits, they're gonna take off. Hopefully, I hope. Now, my woes and struggles just continue because the Max and Charles battle towards the last few laps had me stressed out. The gap was closing in between the two besties. I know they love to be together all the time. I get it, but like, I did not want Max to get into DRS. But at the same time, I know Charles like loves racing against Max and like giving him a good battle because like he knows how to like battle Max, and Max knows like not to mess with him because then we'll have another incident on the race.
I could hear the Max Verstappen theme song in the background. If you know, you know. I can't. Those two love to battle with each other. I will say I really, really loved seeing Oliver Bearman hold on to 4th position. It brought me so much joy. I swear to God, I was writing my notes while watching the race and was just like, if he does not get driver of the day, I'm going to riot because I voted for Ollie. I know Rachel voted for Ollie. I feel like everybody should have voted for Ollie because who doesn't love Ollie?
I did. It's Ollie.
Correct answer. Correct answer. Again, I'm back at it with the GP radio message because that man was being hype man goals because he said, and I quote, "This is an insane stint, Max. Just finish it off." There was no lies to that statement. I don't know how Max pulled this off to pull himself up onto the podium, but he did. We did also get a yellow flag towards the tail end of the race that literally had me going, what is going on? Because I was so confused. It even brought out a virtual safety car to neutralize the race for a little bit. It was just wild. It was just like random yellow flag.
I looked at it at this point. Could we see the race under, like the race end under virtual safety car? If not, could we see a Charles, Max, and Lando battle? Because they're so close. It was insane. Only to then find out Sainz was off the track. But like he was actually off the track. Which is why we were like, why did we get a virtual safety car? But it wasn't until Chris Medlin tweeted why the virtual safety car was needed. Apparently, it was the car subsequently began to smoke, and race control received notification of a potential or a fire.
Knowing what brought it out made sense. I just kind of wish that like we knew about it sooner. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. I do have to say though, the end of this race had me sobbing because of Oliver Bearman. And then, of course, yet again, the fantastic shot of his dad freaking the fuck out. Pardon my French, but his dad was freaking out. It hit me right in the feels because a 9th to 4th is just iconic, especially when you keep in mind the fact that the kid is driving a Haas.
I feel like Haas overall this whole weekend did pretty well, which surprising, but I know Meg's not on here, so I'm going to do it for her. Lando. He is now the new driver championship leader. And I've said this once, I'll say it again. Holy freaking guacamole. Like, amazing. And then Ollie, it was so well deserved. That man deserves everything.
I was so happy to see Ollie finish up there in 4th. Again, I always root for the rookies, like for them to like do like really well and everything. Because I mean, it's their first time being in these big boy F1 cars, so like why not? I'm also happy that Charles was able to keep that P2. Very happy. We're close to P1, you guys. Near the end of the season, but we're almost there. I can see it. Probably won't happen. But at the same time, I was very sad because Lewis not finishing in the top three. I would have loved seeing a double Ferrari podium. I feel like it would just like help Lewis's like mental like so much and just like bring him up and everything. But I mean, again, stuff happens. The FIA is gonna FIA, but also big ups to Oscar. That man was pushing through the midfield as much as he can. Like he was doing a lot of like good battles, and yeah,
It was such a wild race. Your top three at the end of the race was Lando in P1, Charles in P2, and Max in P3.
And then fastest lap went to George Russell.
Now, post-race, we got some more information on the Turn 1 situation. The FIA made a statement about the marshals at Turn 1, and it says, and I quote, "As soon as it became apparent that Liam Lawson had pitted, the instructions to dispatch marshals were rescinded, and a double yellow flag was shown in that area. We are still investigating what occurred after that point." So, in theory, we'll know more information at a later time / later date, but we did get at least a little bit more info post-race, which is just kind of nice.
And then probably what is the most interesting / exciting going into these last, 4 races is that currently Lando and Oscar are only 1 point apart in the Drivers' World Championship for first and second. That is insane. I think one is like 357 and one is 356. It could be anybody. And then you've got Max at like 322, 328. I have a feeling it's gonna come down to Abu Dhabi.
I am excited for it to see come down to the very end because it just makes it the whole season just worthwhile watching. Because like I know for me, like when Max like would win it like halfway through the season, like the rest of the races, I'm like, come on, just like you really have to keep on winning. Like you already got the title. Like come on, man, give the rest a shot.
I almost want to go to Abu Dhabi just to see it.
Yeah, no, I don't have money for that for sure. But a girl can dream. Doesn't cost anything to dream. But it's gonna be an insane run to the finish. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen between the two McLaren boys because, yeah, we're all rooting for them. Maybe one in particular or the other. But I'm excited to see that battle come down to the very, very end. Now, we're off to Brazil for the next race in Interlagos, and guess who else is off to Brazil? Me, your girl. So be on the lookout on our socials, TikTok and Instagram specifically, for a whole Brazilian Grand Prix takeover with your favorite PGP boyfriend, Chris, as well. Just be on the lookout for like everything. Outfit of the day check, like track checks, all that stuff. It's gonna be a blast. I have lots of ideas. If you guys want to see something, let me know. If you guys know of anything going on, let me know because I have no idea what's going on. Now for my predictions, I will not be making any, because I do not want to jinx anyone or my team. Again, I am also very scared of wearing any merch of my team and my drivers. So I don't know how I'm going to manage that, but I'm still going to rock it out. I am just hoping for a great race weekend and that the weather will be beautiful in Sao Paulo and a really fun experience. I'm very much looking forward just exploring a new country and going to my first F1 race, and cannot wait to tell you guys all about it when I return.
Since I am back home with all of my witchy things, I had so much fun coming up with my predictions for Brazil. I, of course, will be living vicariously through Mel and Bestie Chris while they are in Brazil. But for my predictions, I pulled out my pendulum and my tarot cards just because I could. And I got kind of a standard prediction, which I'm a little disappointed by. I was hoping for a little bit more chaos from all of my things, but that's okay. My P1 is Max Verstappen, my P2 is Oscar Piastri, and my P3 is none other than Sir Lewis Hamilton, because honestly, that man deserves a podium for his second home Grand Prix. So that is my predictions thus far. Will they happen? We never friggin' know until after the race, so we'll find out.
I am very similar. Now I'm going to be living vicariously through you. Have the most amazing time. I wish I was there with you. That's all I could say. But I am in full driver championship winning mode right now. I know you're going to hate me by the end of this. I really want Lando Norris to get P1 because you know what that means. And would love Charles and Lewis to get P2 and P3. I just think the Ferrari guys deserve it. Now, I'm also okay with any of the matchup there as long as they're all in 1, 2, 3 in some form of fashion. I also do really think that Lewis deserves it. And also think that if anybody is deserving of it, it's Ferrari at this point. They've had a year, if not a century.
It's been too long. It's been 84 years. Sorry. But yes, very excited. Very excited. Thank you guys for the well wishes. Again, if you guys have any ideas for some content from Indy Grand Prix, please slide into our DMs, comments on threads, whatever. Just let a girl know. We're still planning. Kind of, yeah, winging it. Who knows? But to close out the episode, we have a driver of the week. Not the day, the week. Because this man deserves it. Hands down, Ollie Bearman, aka the Little Bear. What a hell of a drive. Once again, snaps to you, my mans.
All right, besties. That is a wrap for us here in the paddock. Thank you so much for joining us on our spicy Mexico race recap. Make sure you drop us a comment with your favorite race moment. You can find us on socials at Paddock Girls Podcast. We are on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. Now, yes, this is my reminder that if you would like to see our beautiful faces while you listen to our podcast, please check us out on YouTube. We are now posting our full episode videos on YouTube. So if you would like to see faces with your episodes, you can find us there. We are headed to Brazil next, so make sure you let us know your podium predictions. And if you think we're going to get any rain, I personally am hoping for no rain for Mel's sake, because who wants to watch an F1 race in the rain in person? That's kind of not so fun. But we will find out. We hope you liked this episode. Make sure that you are rating and subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review as well if you can, if your platform allows it. But as always, we will see you on the next lap. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.